man Liam here from Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short. And hopefully you've been watching our Getting Goosebumps series, and you will have seen we have now wrapped up season 1 of Goosebumps, the TV series. So we are now going to do a tier ranking where we're taking all those stories from that season and we're going to put them into this tier list. We have 5 categories. We have the best, we have good, we have okay, we have meh, and then we have the worst. So 5 areas and 14 stories. We're not doing every episode because some are 2-parters. So in regards to say something like Stay Out of Basement or A Night in Terror Tower, the entire story is 1 episode, not 2. That's how we're going to do it. Yeah?
Quite a few 2-parters in the first season.
It was in fact. Don't we begin with 1, which we'll get started straight away, and we'll begin with the episode 1 and 2. It is The Haunted Mask. So this, I remember when we started, it was a very familiar episode to both of us. We were remembered a lot of the detail about it, and I think a lot of it held up. I still quite enjoyed this story. Yeah,
it's definitely one of the most well-known episodes, and one I remember watching a lot on TV, as I mentioned in the episode we did about it. It is really well done. The acting is good, and the mask itself is really creepy looking. The effects are good. It's a very, very solid episode.
Yeah, I'd also add as well, the acting is pretty good as well throughout it, and the concept as to why the mask even exists is a good concept. The guy, his ugly face, and he wants to hide it, so he creates his masks, but his evil, his inner ugliness always corrupts them. I like that.
Yeah, and the whole mask like slowly fusing to the body and stuff like that. There's some good creepy stuff in there for a kids horror show for sure. And I just think it is, if you were going to talk about iconic Goosebumps episodes, can you really go more iconic than the Haunted Mask? Really?
No, you're right. So that then says we have to probably put this one in the best.
But are we going to base it on whether or not it is the best because we think it's that good, or is it because it's iconic and what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because it's hard because when I look at a lot of the other episodes, I think, God, the best way to look at it is, would you want to watch it again, or is this like a one time only thing?
It is quite conflicting because would I want to watch it again? I mean, I've watched it so many times, that's the thing, so probably wouldn't want to sit through it like too many more times. But on the whole, compared to like some of the lesser episodes that are a bit cheesier and stuff, and what's the one below best?
Good.
So we're going to base it on the quality rather than like whether or not it's highly thought of.
Yeah, I think because obviously what we think is obviously, it's our tier list. So what we think goes more than anything else. General consensus can be that people love it. But if we also agree with that general consensus that, hey, you know what, it's easy to see why it's well loved, that should apply as well.
Yeah, I think just because of how memorable it is and the mask and the mask looks really good. I think it's fair to put it in best,
Yeah, I think so. I think considering as well what we're going to come to, and we can always change at the end if we decide, this one deserves to be up there and that's it.
Okay. Yep.
Right, the next one then, the Cuckoo Clock of Doom. Now, don't worry, folks, this one is not going in the best. Good God.
Yeah, you mentioned how when you did the episode that you didn't remember this episode at all, you said. And I just think a lot of the episodes in season 1 particularly are just super memorable to me. And I always liked the idea of this episode, but like a lot of them, the execution wasn't really there. And it's not terrible by any means, but I think it's obviously not the best. And would you call it good? Is it a good episode?
So the concept, right? The concept of the time travel and the way they utilize that, in particular with the kid going back in time and then seeing it for his eyes, I would rate that as good. Where I think it falls down is with a lot of the other elements. We have one of the most obnoxious sibling rivalries in all the episodes to date in this one. We also get some really cheesy and really bad moments, such as him being chased down the hallway by the clock,
Yeah.
which is
That dream
horrendous.
Yeah.
Horrendous. To the fact that when he's a kid, when he's a baby, the voice in his head is his same voice, and he's able to do these elements. It relies so many on so many coincidences involving this clock as well when he's a baby, and that clock just happens to exist. For me, this is okay.
Yeah, I think it's like a lot of episodes where I really like the concepts, but then it just in the episode they just do a lot of stuff that just doesn't really take advantage of what could have been, quite you've done a lot better, basically. So I think saying it's all right or it's an okay episode.
It's in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put it in okay. The Girl Who Cried Monster. Now, this is one of the most memorable ones overall, isn't it? Based off the monster alone.
Yeah, there's some really good horror elements in this one. Some nice practical effects work.
Yeah.
And if I wouldn't say it's necessarily like the best, but maybe just below.
Good. Well, I'm wondering. See, my natural inclination is this episode deserves to be in the best because it has got those horror elements. The story's quite clever, and I actually really like the freaking twist.
Yeah, you got to remember sometimes. I guess the runtime of some of the episodes, they're only 20 minutes, and this one does actually do quite a good job of telling a very simplified story. And the acting is really good in it. The librarian guy, I forget his name, but he's really good in it. He's really creepy, and I remember the scene where he turns up at her door and he's almost like I said in the episode, he's almost like a vampire that wants to be invited in. And then the twist at the end is actually really good. So I think I might have actually just convinced myself that it should probably go in the best, actually.
The question is, does it go above or below the Haunted Mask?
I'd
happily put this above.
Yeah, I think I put it above because I was quite conflicted on the Haunted Mask of whether or not I should go in there.
Yeah.
Even though I said before it's not the best, but like a lot of the episodes are quite cheesy, but this is actually quite like more grounded in being like a quite scary episode for like a kids horror show. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's top of the best. Yep, we'll put it there.
Cool.
I'll move things around. There we go. Okay, welcome to Camp Nightmare. This is a two-parter again, and I'm always going to remember this now. I'm just going to remember this episode for one thing only, which is its batshit crazy double twist ending.
Double, triple, quadruple twist.
It's insane. And beyond that, there's really not a lot to this episode. Kid goes to stay at a camp, weird shit goes on, people disappear, and it's slow a lot of the time. And as you said during the video episode we did of it, you just can never see these fucking twists coming. And that's crazy.
Yeah, and if it's something is so like out of the realms of predictability, like you couldn't possibly see it coming, and it just takes you in so many different directions, does it make it good that it's that over the top and ridiculous, And even though the twist in itself isn't a bad twist, but then they take it one step further with the whole it being on a different planet and then them looking up at Earth. One thing I do really like about this episode is there's some really eccentric performances in it from some actors that are really enjoyable. The camp leader is really entertaining, and there's some nice effects in it as well. But it's just a bit too ridiculous. The whole thing's just too ridiculous. And like you said before about the Haunted Mask, would you want to sit through it again? I'm not sure this is one I'd want to sit through again, especially when you know the twist is coming. Because I feel like in some episodes, like in the Terra Terra one, even knowing the twist, it doesn't necessarily affect rewatching it because it almost, in a way, you can still watch it. But with this, just knowing what's going to happen, it almost makes it not worth watching.
I agree with
through the confused characters, not knowing what's going on and stuff like that. It kind of makes it all pointless.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. The thing I was going to praise, we already said it, was the effects more than anything else. At the start, you get this awesome explosion, and the monster is a big old animatronic. It looks fake as fuck, but the fact that it's a big old animatronic impressed the hell out of me.
Yeah.
So this one definitely goes in the latter half. So do we put it in okay? Do we put it in meh? Or do we put it in the worst?
I think I put it in the middle. I don't think it's not bad, and it's going to be I think it's going to be quite tough. I'm looking forward to seeing what episodes we come to that we say are actually like below okay, because I'm not
I've
sure.
got two in mind already, but okay. So we put it in okay, but is it better or worse than the Cuckoo Clock of Doom?
I like the Cuckoo Clock of Doom better. I do.
I'm gonna agree with you. Yep, I'm gonna agree with that. It's after it. Phantom of the Auditorium. So basically, Phantom of the Opera told in Goosebumps style in about 22 minutes.
Well,
This is a nothing episode. Forgettable as fuck. Meh for me.
okay. I mean, I just said like about how I'm looking forward to seeing what episodes are going to go in the lower half, and
Yeah.
then we immediately come to the next one, and I completely agree. I just don't find the whole subject matter that like riveting at
Nope.
all. Yeah, just this retelling of the story of the Phantom of the Opera just does nothing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got a twist that is one of those, oh, this is easy to work out. Oh, wait, there's a new kid here suddenly. Huh. I wonder
Yeah.
how he's involved.
Yeah, I'm happy to put it in there, and if you wanted to put it even lower, I probably wouldn't argue.
No, it can go meh. It's going to take something spectacular for it to go in the worst. Might come from a later season.
Yeah, maybe.
Piano lessons can be murder. Part of me really doesn't like this episode, but part of me loves it. And
Yeah.
it's a combination of two different things. I love performances in this episode more than anything else, and the idea behind it. I dislike a lot of the effects and the sort of plot holes that exist through it involving the ghost. And I guess the concept and overall concept about taking off the hands.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot to not like about it. I just think the performance of the guy that is his name Dr. Shriek, is it? Is that
Oh,
right?
that's the Dr. Shriek, yeah.
Yeah. Performance actor of him is just so good.
It
And
lifts
like
it.
the reveal of him being this like robot, and it's just, yeah, it's like, again, it's one of those episodes that has these twists, and then like the ending where the guy is forced to play piano to the end of time by the ghost, and it's almost like, yeah, it's just there's again too much going on. It's a bit of a mess on the whole stealing of hands thing. Yeah, it's messy, but
It
I
is
can't hate it too
enjoyable.
hard. Yeah, it is enjoyable. Yeah, doesn't overstay its welcome like most of these episodes, so it's not too terrible.
Good.
Uh, good.
Yeah, it's the only one we haven't got anything in good yet, and I think it's better than Cuckoo Clock of Doom and Camp Nightmare, but it's not on par with The Haunted Mask and The Girl Who Cried Monster.
Yeah. I'm happy to put it in good just because I really do like the performance of Dr. Shriek.
I think
Yeah.
in a 20-minute odd episode, if we can reflect on and go, well, at least that was really enjoyable.
Right.
Return of the Mummy.
Again, just like Phantom of the Auditorium, there's something about the subject matter focusing on like a mummy just didn't interest me that much. I like this. I think the sets are decent. They look like Egyptian, and they get what they're going for. But the overall story doesn't didn't find that interesting.
No, I 100% agree. This is another one that's really quite low for me. Again, not interested in the story. Mummy stuff's been done, but it's also got some incredibly poor performances in it and unlikable characters.
Yeah, and the uncle that they have, he's just like really negligent. Having these kids wandering around this ancient tomb and letting them touch things, and yeah, it's just really unprofessional. Just it's in a lot of ways, yeah, it's definitely not one I would want to sit through again.
So, meh.
Yeah,
Above or below Phantom?
I'd probably put it below that, honestly.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you in it. Yep, cool. Night of the Living Dummy 2. So this is an episode that I think is just overall disappointing, considering you're seeing an icon of the Goosebumps franchise, both in book form, even before anything movie was related. This was sort of like the Goosebumps franchise holder, the most prominent featured character, and one he returned to several times in the future, R.L. Stein. And this fact that it's Night of the Living Dummy 2 really, really puzzles the hell out of me. But it's just not that good of a story. It's just, Slappy does some stuff, no one believes her, and that's it. It's got a really lackluster ending. However, the family in this fucking episode are the entertainment.
Yes. You got family movie night or whatever it was bloody called. That's hilarious by
Yeah,
itself. And yeah, I think like as a way of introducing Slappy as a character, it was really the most generic possible way you could do it,
yeah,
obviously. But it's the most obvious way because he's a dummy and the dummy coming to life and whatnot. So I guess you can't really criticize it, but that is the most obvious route you would take. But it just doesn't. He doesn't offer enough threat, in my opinion.
yeah,
Like it's like a lot of things in Goosebumps where they have these creatures or monsters, and because of the fact that it's a kids show, they can't really go far enough to really sort of show that they're going to do something extreme. It's kept quite tame, and yeah, and also because he's a dummy, just these characters, they never like make good enough attempts, in my opinion, to destroy the things that are like
yeah,
coming after them. And she just, yeah,
yeah. Like she throws it down a sewer, but at no point did you think, oh, I could smash it.
yeah, he's got a porcelain face.
Yeah,
But it's like a lot of episodes where there has a single element that is iconic, kind of stands out, like Slappy as a dummy. You know, it's really well
mm,
made. I really like how it looks, and it's clearly the crafting is good and whatnot. But I think yeah, it's overall a weak episode, and I didn't really enjoy it that much watching it, other than laughing at the family. But I'm not sure that's necessarily the intention of what it's trying to do
I-
anyway.
yeah. I don't think that was the intention at all. So this is a difficult one then.
Mm.
Okay, in the middle.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
I mean, we've got Cuckoo Clock of Doom and Welcome to Camp Nightmare in that.
I mean, I guess it can go above both of those.
Probably the
Sure.
top, yeah. You know why it
Yeah.
should go above as well? Because there is one particular scene or line in that I will actually remember, which is when the little girl takes Slappy out of the box and she says, "Oh, he says he couldn't breathe in there," and that
That
is
is, yeah,
a creepy line.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah. My Hairiest Adventure.
My
Yeah.
Hairiest Adventure.
Yes.
What
So
to say about it?
this is just a weird dog human hybrid one, man.
Yeah, it's got the dog from the intro of the show in it.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah. Um. Yeah. It's
What can you really say
interesting.
about this one?
I remember saying that I thought it was some kind of metaphor for puberty and
Right.
like growing hair in strange places. So I kind of get the idea of what Arsenal might have been going for, if that was the idea, that maybe like it's the idea of your body changing and not really understanding it, and it kind of like is a twisted like look on that idea. So in that way, it's you know, you might not have been thinking that. Maybe I'm making it sound better, but yeah, I mean, but overall, without that, just no, it's not great.
No, I really don't care for this episode. In fact, I'm struggling compared to all the others. I'm struggling to remember a lot of detail about this one.
It's the whole
Obviously,
sun,
got the
isn't it?
tanning.
The tanning lotion that
Yeah,
makes them grow hair. Isn't But then there is a twist at the end, which is that that he always was a dog or something,
that's
wasn't it?
right.
And
They were
he
all
was
always
transformed
dogs.
into, yeah, they were all dogs that were transformed into being human,
Hmm.
and then they're slowly transforming back. So I think that's like a pretty interesting reveal. But again, like knowing that, would you want to sit through it knowing that again? Probably not.
No,
So
no.
yeah,
To me, this goes in meh.
yeah, that's I would put it there. Yeah.
Question is, right, so we've got Phantom of the Auditorium and The Mummy. Where does it go amongst them?
Is there anything below Mare
Yeah,
then?
it's the worst.
Then you wouldn't put this within the worst then?
Nope, there's one coming up that is going. I think should go in the worst, but I'm not sure this deserves to go in the worst.
Well, I put it at the bottom of Mare then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm down with that. It's almost in the worst, but we'll get to the one that I think does to go in the worst. Before that, though, it's Stay Out of the Basement, a two-parter,
Yeah.
very iconic.
For me, this is like one of the best episodes of
Yeah,
Goosebumps.
no
Like the
question.
entire like run of it. I think the performances in it are really great, and it's just such an intriguing story of mystery of what the father is doing in the basement. And once
Hmm.
it's revealed, I mean, you just never would have predicted it. And it's just some really good moments in it, like the bit at the end when the daughter has to try and choose between which is the correct father, and the yeah, I think it's a really great episode. Some really nasty looking moments in it with the worms on the bed and things like
Yeah,
that. Really,
yeah,
really like it.
yeah, I agree. I think everything you said, performance-wise, I think the father's threatening behavior as he goes on is quite intimidating. The dinner table scene when he's trying to get him to eat the food, I think some of the
Mhm.
effects are brilliant. When particularly at the end when they're exploring the plant room and you kind of get the plant with a face. as well. And I also really like the sort of Goosebumps sting in the tail that you normally get. And in this one, where the plants start trying to persuade her that they're her actual father.
Yeah,
It's
some
cool
really
as
creepy
fuck.
moments where where they're all like calling out to her, like to help them and stuff like that. It's just like that idea is really creepy. Or like yeah, some really great effects, like you mentioned, where you like when he takes his hat off and you see there's plants growing out of his head, things like that. It's good stuff.
It's even almost got some gore when he's got his
Yeah.
arm cut and we see the green blood oozing out.
Well, it's green, so it's okay to show it.
It's okay. This is the best, right? And probably top of the
Yeah.
best, right?
I would put it top of the best. I think it's going to be quite tough to top this, honestly. I do think.
Agreed. Okay, here's my contender for the worst. And it is
Right.
It Came From Beneath the Sink, which is basically a story about a killer sponge.
The killer sponge, yeah. As I mentioned in the episode, I do think this is just meant to be a cheesy homage to like monster movies or
Yep.
yesteryear and cheesy effects and these ideas of these random objects that could come to life and turn into monsters and things like that. So I kind of give it like a bit of a pass in that regard, just because I can see what it's trying to do, you know.
But is it a good monster movie or episode? Is
That's
it?
the thing. It's like they picked the most ridiculous thing they could possibly pick. So it's like they're going for that ultimate cheesy monster movie, really. But yeah, it's not good though. That's the problem. That's the problem. It shows a sponge, and as ridiculous as it is, and I get what they're going for, but it just it doesn't really deliver.
Would you put it in the worst?
The worst. I mean, I mean, if you're happy for it to go there, then I'll put it there. Sure.
I want to put it in the worst. For me, it's the worst episode I've seen.
That's fine, because putting it in there, I mean, the episodes in there, it's definitely worse than them for sure.
Yeah.
So that's fair, yeah.
Yeah, because as well, it should be noted, there is no twist with It Came From Beneath the Sink, whereas at least with My Hairiest Adventure, you've got that twist.
No, like the potato appearing is not it's not a twist.
No, that's the sting in the tail.
Yeah.
All right, goes in the worst. All right, we got Say Cheese and Die. An episode that is good but could have been better.
It's disappointing because it could have been so much better, I think.
Yeah.
So it leaves a bit of bitter taste, because I just think the concept is so good and you could do so much good horror stuff with that. You know, I'd love to see, there's a lot of these episodes and concepts where I'd love for them to take them and, you know, turn them into real horror stories, not just ones that are made for kids. And I feel like it's being held back and it's shackled by it being a kids show, you know?
Yeah. I agree. For me, this is simply put, this is an okay episode.
It's okay, yeah.
Did we put it above or below Night of the Living Dummy?
I put it above that. Yeah.
Right, top of okay. Yeah, I agree. I think it's more memorable.
Yeah.
Two more left then, and they're both two-parters. We have A Night in Terra Tara. Now, this would have been my contender to be top of the best, but I just can't see it beating out Stay at the Basement, because Stay at the Basement is a better horror.
Yeah. Well, that is quite different, because this is based more in grounded, realistic horror. Like it does a lot of stuff with torture and that sort of stuff, and obviously there's time travel and all that stuff as well. But that is so different. Like Stay at the Basement is more like, it's just, so it's kind of hard to compare them. But as we mentioned, the performances in this are really strong, and it's just the story is really well told, and it's got some good twists and turns along the way. But I just, Stay at the Basement has a special place in my heart, so I would put this in the best, but probably just below Stay at the Basement.
That's exactly it. That's exactly what I was going to put it. Yep, I agree with you 100%. In the best, but it's below Stay at the Basement, because for me, Stay at the Basement fascinated me more.
Yeah, for sure, I agree.
Which brings us to the last episode, the last story of season 1, and it is The Werewolf of Fever Swamp. It's a werewolf story stretched across two episodes with a twist that you can see coming a mile away, and there's nothing special about this. This to me is right in the middle. It's okay.
Yeah, it's just like the Mummy episode. I know why they're doing the classic monster thing for a kids show. That's obvious. It's like super obvious, but it's hard to do werewolf good, and this just does it okay. Like you said, it's just nothing really jumps out to me as being super memorable. When we did the episode, we were even rifling off some ideas of how it could have been even done better,
Yeah.
and it throws lots of like misdirection at you to try and make it more interesting than it actually is, just to throw you off the obvious end of the twist. And that's all it is. It does. But once you realize how obvious it is, you realize it's just basically wasted your time almost with these like little theories in your head. And it's like I mentioned in the episode, a lot of these ones have these twists, and this one almost has the ultimate twist of like the twist being, because normally the twist is so ridiculous you couldn't possibly predict it.
Yeah.
This is the twist of being so obvious it's not really even a twist, and it has the tropes like to the nth degree, you know, of the boy literally crying wolf.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
everything you said is solid. It belongs in okay. The question is, we have 4 things in okay. So does it go above or below Say Cheese and Die?
oh no, I wouldn't say so.
Below, yeah?
What's below Say Cheese and Die?
Yeah. So after that, does it go above and below Night of the Living Dummy 2?
What do you think?
Below.
You think it goes below? I mean, the swamp set was nice.
Yeah, but right. This is where I now sort of struggle, because now I hit Cuckoo Clock of Doom, right? And I look at
Yeah.
Cuckoo Clock of Doom and go, I thought that was okay, but at least with Cuckoo Clock of Doom, I'm gonna remember that insane dream sequence of being chased by a clock. I don't think I'll remember anything about Werewolf of Fever Swamp in 6 months' time.
That's a good point. Yeah, so that's right. Yeah.
So below Cuckoo Clock of Doom, and then we hit Camp Nightmare, and it's the same thing. While Camp Nightmare is predominantly forgettable, I then think that crazy ass ending I'm gonna remember over Fever Swamp.
Yeah, no, I still see that animatronic like wolf ahead in that as well. It's memorable. I can't think of one element other than the swamp and the nice set they used that I will remember from this episode. Otherwise, yeah, it will get out of my head. So
Bottom of okay then. Bottom of okay.
Bottom of okay.
Yep, and that's it. So let's just quickly run through where we've put everything and see if we want to change anything. We have in the worst, it came from beneath the sink.
I'll leave it there.
In the mayor, we've got my hair. In mayor, we've got My Hairiest Adventure, Return of the Mummy, and Phantom of the Auditorium.
Yeah, I do think that My Hairiest Adventure is, you know, that is very like leaning closely towards worst, I think.
You know what? We'll move it to the worst, because I got it came from beneath the sink. You want that in the worst. Let's move it to the worst and have them two there.
That's fair enough, man. Yeah.
In okay, we've got Werewolf of Fever Swamp, Welcome to Camp Nightmare, The Cuckoo Clock of Doom, Night of the Living Dummy 2, and Say Cheese and Die. I think they're where they belong.
Yeah, okay sounds exactly right for those episodes.
The only one we've gotten good is Piano Lessons Can Be Murder.
Are we just being like, you know, too forgiving? I mean, it's been a little bit of time since I watched it now, so I guess it's a good time to judge on whether or not it was memorable. I do remember quite a lot about it, but yeah, I remember there's that bad CGI ghost in it and things like that. So I don't know, are we being too kind because we really enjoyed that one performance? Is it good otherwise? I don't know. What do you think?
I think it belongs there, because I was actually going to now agree with something you said at the very start. I was going to move something too good. I was going to move the Haunted Mask down from the best to the top of good.
Yeah, I think so.
Looking at what we've got in the best, I think Piano Lessons Can Be Murder can be forgiven completely, because ultimately its story, while weird, is unique enough, and that one performance is so enlightening.
Yeah, it is truly weird, and the nature of the weirdness is horrific. You know, if you really think about what it is, the cutting off of hands and whatnot. Yeah, so no, it's good stuff there. So I think we'll keep it there. And yeah, the Haunted Mask, I'm not sure what it is about it. I think it might just be having seen it so many times, and it's so obviously like the star of the show type thing. That kind of like makes me resent it a little bit. It's a bit like Night of the Living Dummy. Like these are considered the like, a lot of people consider these to be the best ones, and it's like they're not actually. Like there's some stuff like Stay at the Basement, Night in Terror Tower that maybe don't get as much praise because I don't have like a crazy good looking mask or things like that, but they are like clearly far superior in every other way. Let me take the mask out. If you take the mask out of Haunted Mask and how good the mask itself looks and all that sort of stuff, like there's a lot of like boring stuff. Otherwise, yeah, just the you know, the story of Carly Beth and how she's bullied and how she wants to, you know, the whole dynamic of her putting on the mask and being like transformed, and like, yeah, the contrast between her and the mask version of her is like, it's done well enough, but there's some other stuff there that, yeah, drags. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
you know her friend in the haunted mask who
She
wears the
is.
cat costume. Does she not look just like the Night in Terror Tower girl?
She is. Same person.
I think she might be, actually. Yeah,
She
that's why we
is.
recognize her.
Yeah, I forgot to mention it during the video talk through, but Sue in the Night in Terror Tower plays Carly Beth's friend in the haunted mask.
Yeah, that just clicked for me right then. Yeah, I don't know if I'm just because I've seen it so many times, that's why I'm like put it down a bit, but
No, the part of the reason why I've decided it should go in good is because I look at what's in the best, and when I consider what we put in the best and put the haunted mask alongside them, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit.
I think we've got quite a high bar there with Stay at the Basement and Night in Terror Tower is quite a high bar, yeah.
Yes, that brings the question of the third one. Does the Girl Who Cried Monster belong in the best?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it does. It
Yeah.
does, just because it's a really well done little condensed horror tale, and yeah,
It's got one of my favorite twists in the series to date. So that is our best then. Stay at the Basement, Night in Terror Tower, and The Girl Who Cried Monster. There you go. There's our tier list. Let us know what you think in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favor, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror, and heavy metal. What else is life for?